How long? All right. All right. If you could, after this PSA, just skip it over to the rejoin at the skip it over to the last like
What's up, Sean? Hey, dude.
it's the last 20 seconds or so. That should give us the rejoin. All right. So just keep me posted on that, and we'll get it going. I'll count you guys in. I'll count it in from here. I'll let you know when I'm about to take it back. All right. How we doing? All right, so we'll start out just talk about off-season routines and all that kind of stuff, and then mindset, and then we'll kind of roll through it. How much time? Welcome back to the Charlie Fisher Radio Show live at Buffalo Wild Wings, a special spring edition, and we are here. We got two special guests, rising senior linebacker Brett Taylor and rising junior Sean McGuire on hand to talk a little bit. Guys, how are we doing? How's the offseason going thus far?
It's going great so far. In the beginning, we were just trying to get as big as possible, which was awesome. We didn't have to run right away, but last couple of weeks we've got after it, got our conditioning up, and Coach Jacobs is doing a great job, and the team's responding well to it.
How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing well as well. We got a good group of guys put in hard work every day, and it's paying off.
Again, Sam Cooperman back here with our guests. We have Brett Taylor, senior linebacker, coming in up for the finalists in the Buchanan Awards, and I know a lot of accolades coming your way. The same to you, Sean, honorable mention All-Missouri Valley Football Conference, your first year as the full-time starter of this team. So you talk about what Matt Jacobs has brought, and we're going to have him on the mic in a little bit, but what's the biggest thing you guys have noticed in terms of the strength and conditioning and all the off-season workout routines that you guys go through in terms of the improvement on that end?
To start off with, I just think that everyone's shirts have gotten smaller. But what I mean by that is just I think we are looking bigger, we look better, and we're moving well too, which is great. So I love what Coach Jacobs has done so far.
Yeah, then going off of that, what does an off-season routine look like, guys? Sean, we'll start with you, work our way over to Brett here. But, what does that look like? Because for a lot of fans, you don't necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes. When you have all those months in between, you just know there's spring ball, and then, boom, it seems like August just shows up, and we're good to go, late July, August, when we start things up. What does that off-season routine look like from you guys from a consistency standpoint?
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we do that, the fans might not see, but it always, starts the day after the season ends, and we're, well into it right now. A normal day, a lot of us will wake up, me and Brett, we'll have lifting at 6, but there's different lifting times, and people get in there, get their work done, get together with the team, and put in the work that we need to get done, and we implement running then. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, we started running and getting that conditioning aspect going too.
Yeah, Brett, how would you kind of sum that up?
Just like he said, and then we really preach just competing every single day in the weight room, on the field, and also in the classroom. It's a really good, during this without having spring ball right now, a really good way to get ahead in the classroom and just get on top of things and get the semester going right away before spring ball.
And again, we're joined by Brett Taylor and Sean McGuire from the Fighting Leatherneck football team. Brett, Macomb native, comes in as a rising senior, and as I mentioned before, all sorts of accolades his junior year. And, I can list them off, and I know you're a team guy, not really about the individual stuff. But as I run through these, Brett, first team All-America stats, Walter Camp Foundation All-America team, first team All-America College Sports Madness, a lot of those, seventh in the Bucky Buchanan Award, voting for National Defensive Player of the Year. When you look at all those individual things, and like I mentioned, I know you are a team guy, and that is your focus, but when you look at all those honors and accolades you achieved your junior season, what's the one that stands out to you the most that, you really value the most?
I don't really know. I think they're all great, but I just think that goes to me having great teammates, obviously the D-line up front, making it possible, and then having great teammates and great coaches and just great support even through the offense, even though we compete every day. We know every day on game day we're there for each other and have each other's backs, but I don't have a specific one that I like the most. It's just there should be a team award on there, so.
Yeah, and of course, team awards, ultimately what you guys are hoping to achieve as you build on the first year with Charlie Fisher at the helm of the program. And you look again, one more individual question for you, Brett. A lot of attention, obviously, it comes when you achieve those kind of things on the football field, and you expect that to come next year. I know you set high goals for yourself, but did you expect this kind of success at this level to come this quickly? And how do you build on that now that it comes, maybe more of a target on your back? There's some of that notoriety that comes with it.
You just got to keep working harder every single day. You can't. Every day you wake up and you got 24 hours to do whatever you can to be better every single day. And then Sean, every day I'm competing with him. I don't want Sean to beat me in anything, just a little competition there. But just doing your best every single day, and then the awards will come with the work.
And again, Brett Taylor, Sean McGuire on hand at the Charlie Fisher Radio Show live at Buffalo Wild Wings, a special spring edition. Later in the show, we'll have Matt Jacobs, the new strength and conditioning coach here at Western Illinois, as well as Coach Fisher back on the mic alongside me and Pat Osterman. But, Sean, we'll turn to you right now. And we talked about what you achieved your first year as the full-time starter of this team. How does it feel going into this offseason and really through a good chunk of the offseason already, having that experience as opposed to the year before when there was a lot more different things going around the program? Of course, you had the new coaching staff coming in. You had a few games as the starter, but now you kind of have that already under your belt. What's the mindset like for you now that you have a little more of that playing experience?
I would just say improvement. It's nice to have more games under your belt. Anyone can attest to that. With experience, you just get more comfortability, and the game kind of slows down. And especially in this offense, it's a complex deal, and it's a lot of fun. So the more games you get in, the easier it comes. And I think we're really going to take a lot of strides this year.
And again, Sean McGuire talking to me right now here on the Charlie Fisher Radio Show on 102.7 FM. Sean, you talked about the competition between you and Brett, and of course, during this offseason, you're trying to improve a lot of different areas. Is there one area you'd pinpoint as something you're really trying to stress to yourself to really bolster heading into next season?
Well, yeah, from a football standpoint, again, just going with the football aspect we were just talking about, improvement, and I think just the mental aspect is so huge at any position. Brett can attest to that, playing linebacker, or a DB can attest to that, or wide receiver. It just goes on and with any position, really. So I think for us as a team, just bolstering what we've built upon last year with the offense and the defense, I think we're really going to, again, make big strides this year.
And, Sean, I kind of want to bounce off that one for a second. I know something that Coach Fisher often talks about with you is your mindset, the way that you're able to bounce back from a mistake. I know one thing they'll say is like, yeah, sometimes if Sean gets in a situation where there's a 3-and-out or a turnover, he'll wink at you. He's ready to go. He comes right back out there. How do you develop that, kind of poise and, consistency on that end, and how does that help you guys from a team standpoint?
A lot of that, I think, is trust. I think it's just, you never get worried when you trust that, it's just one of those things. You're going to get 3-and-out in a game, or you're going to commit a turnover. But if you trust your teammates, you trust your coaches, which we have here, you're not worried then. You're never going to blink. You're just ready for the next drive. And I think that's why sometimes, me and Coach Fisher will exchange a little wink or a smile because we're just already looking forward to the next drive.
Again, Sean McGuire, quarterback of the Fighting Leatherneck football team, and Brett Taylor, rising senior linebacker, both on hand here at Buffalo Wild Wings for this special edition of the Charlie Fisher Radio Show. Brett, I turn to you now, and another storyline from this offseason, not necessarily team-related, but I know it's Macomb-related, and it certainly impacts you. Your former football coach at Macomb High School, Kelly Sears, stepping down after a long 20-plus year tenure at the helm of the Bomber program. First of all, what was your reaction when you got the news a few months back that Coach Sears was stepping down, and just what did he mean to you as you were growing up playing football, and how is he related to your success here at Western Illinois?
When I first heard the news, I was extremely sad about it, obviously, but I was happy for him for personal reasons, and he can do what he wants to do. He can go racing more on the weekends now. But Coach Sears has done a lot for me. He loves the linebackers. That's his position group. He'll always choose your side over anyone else's. He's your guys, and he's done a lot for me. He got me started with football, and then just 4 years with him. Grew up a lot with him, long bus rides with him, long conversations just about life and football, and Macomb will miss him for sure.
Yeah, and of course, Kelly Sears still sticking around there. He will be in Macomb, but definitely not the same going out to Bombers games on Friday nights with that Coach Sears roaming the sidelines. Now, of course, you being a Macomb native, I know you have family on here, your grandparents Ed and Sue here, a number of family members on hand and throughout all your games. When you look at how this coaching search is going, do you have any thoughts on it? Is there anything you know about it? I know you've had some input on the Western search there ultimately when Coach Fisher came. Is there anything you contributed to that, or is it just a matter of waiting and seeing, and you'll find out what Macomb does?
Just waiting and seeing. I haven't heard anything about the job so far, but if they'd wait a year, I'd take the job. But they'll find the right guy. Dave Bartlett will do a great job. He's done a great job there, so they'll find the right guy, and the Bombers will be all right.
Again, Brett Taylor, Sean McGuire on hand here at the Charlie Fisher Radio Show. As we start to wrap up this segment, guys, spring ball ahead. What is the thing you're each looking forward to most about playing spring football and getting back to Hanson Field?
I would say just competing. Winter conditioning gets stretched out so long, and we love to compete in anything, in lifting or in conditioning. So it'll be nice to compete in the pads again, play some football, throw it around, and I think we're all really, really looking forward to it.
Like you said, I'm just ready to compete with the offense again all spring long, and just hopefully this year the defense can come out on top in the spring game.
And again, Sean McGuire, Brett Taylor on hand with me here, and I know that a little bit of that joshing around there with the spring game coming up. But when you go through all that, because you have a few weeks where it's not as much as you get back to with the regular schedule, but there's a lot that comes into it. What is your playing shape like at the end of that, and do you almost feel ready to go after you go through a whole spring setup, and then is there a little bit of kind of a come down? It's like, we got to go back to not playing football for a few months.
I think there's definitely a little bit of that. I think there's also, like you were talking about, you think you're ready to play at the end of spring ball, and then when fall camp hits you, you realize you're nowhere near ready to play. But I think, spring is just a great time to really just hone in on your skills.
Garrett Covington chose Western Illinois University because of the law enforcement program and the chance to be a Leatherneck.
Western has one of the best law enforcement programs in the nation.
All right, well, I think you guys summed it up pretty well. I'll let you go back and enjoy your time here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Thank you guys for stopping by on the Charlie Fisher Radio Show. Again, Brett Taylor, Sean McGuire on hand here tonight for this special edition of the Charlie Fisher Radio Show at Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back here on Classic 103, 102.7 FM. You are listening to the Charlie Fisher Radio Show.
Garrett Covington chose Western Illinois University because of the law enforcement program and the chance to be a Leatherneck.
Western has one of the best law enforcement programs in the nation, and I get to play the game I love. Whether I go pro or I go to law school, because of Western, I would take my success to another level. I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University. For Lindsay Cutesy, one academic major at Western Illinois University wasn't enough.
My majors in Spanish, anthropology, and religious studies have given me incredible opportunities to study in Spain and in India.
Lindsay feels incredibly lucky to be a Leatherneck.
My goal is to work for a nonprofit that focuses on serving others. I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University. Carissa Kuchis loves Western Illinois University.
Western lets you be who you want to be. The opportunities are unlimited, and people here really care.
Carissa has definitely made the most of her time at Western.
Advertising executive, life coach, talk show host. I'll do it all because I'm a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University. Max Ford is continuing a family tradition as a Leatherneck.
Giving back to my hometown and representing the school I love is so rewarding.
His hard work in the classroom and on the track have taught him perseverance and determination.
My training and my academic majors are preparing me for a solid career. I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University.
Company, and we're live from Buffalo Wild Wings here in Macomb. Reminder fans, starting in September, we will be back here every week for the regular season Charlie Fisher radio show. And also a reminder to follow Leatherneck Football on all the social media, at WIU Football for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and make sure you give Coach Fisher a follow on Twitter as well. Right now we're joined by Director of Strength and Conditioning, Matt Jacobs. Matt, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Now, you joined the Leathernecks back in January. How have your first couple months been?
They've been awesome. When the job came open, I fought to get this job. We were fresh off taking a butt whooping to these guys last year, and I wanted to be a part of the position. So I fought tooth and nail to try to get in here. I got in Coach's ear as best I could, and thankfully I was able to get here. And when I got hired, we packed up and we were here in a week. So we came down, we looked for a place. And we moved in a week later before I even got the official go-ahead. I think the HR was a little fired up at me. But I wanted to get to work for Coach. I wanted to get to work for the staff.
Yeah, Matt, you mentioned it there that you took that whooping to Western, formerly at Northern Illinois, the Associate Director of Sports Performance there. What did you learn in your time there, and is there anything from there that you've attempted to bring here to Western in the early goings?
Absolutely. It's a tremendous program. We won a lot of games. We won 3 championships up there. The staff that I worked for, I worked under the same head coach, and he was our offensive coordinator. We were there for 6 years, and my the director up there, the boss, just taught me how to be a professional, how to be a pro in this business. I took a lot of how to get guys strong, how to run a program, and how to do it the right way. We won a lot of football games, and we found a lot of how to do it our way, and we found success doing it our way. So that was probably the biggest thing I took from there. You learn from a lot of people. And then when you finally get a chance to run your own show, you hope you learned enough and you can do it your way. And hope you find success that way as well.
What are some of your main duties here at Western?
I directly oversee all the sport teams. I have 3 graduate assistants that they will design and implement the programs for their teams. So I design and implement for the football team. So we're in charge of the weight room, the scheduling, and everything that goes around with that. My direct responsibilities with football, Coach put me in charge of really 3 things. The design of the program, really the movements that we're doing, the culture of the program, how we train, how we go about our business, how we're going to do it the Leatherneck way, and nutrition is a big deal in our world. It's a big, big deal. And Coach Fisher has put a major emphasis on that, which is awesome on his part. He gives me a lot more of a green light to help feed and recover these guys. We do a great job, especially against our direct competition, of getting food into our guys, which is a big deal. Everybody trains. You don't get stronger from training. You get stronger by recovering from training. So that's a big deal with what we try to do, and Coach has given us a big green light with how to make that a better situation.
Now, with that a little bit, kind of alongside of that, the fuel zone. So the athletic department of the fuel zone that really just started up this past fall. How have the guys been able to take advantage of that? Because that's certainly a big advantage for not only for football, but really for all your student athletes.
The fuel zone is for all of our student athletes. That comes down from from Mr. Taney from the top. They can get in there twice a day, 3 days a week, and get a protein-based snack. A lot of times the problem isn't getting these guys. They're busy. They got busy schedules. They got practice. They got classes. They got training. They got tutors. So all of a sudden we lose time where they can eat. Well, if we can create a fuel zone, which we have, put it in the room that they're in all the time, in Western Hall there, we can get them 2 snacks a day. On top of that, Coach Fisher's given us a big green light where we can, we make different sandwiches, different snacks for our guys, for our football guys, where we can get post-workout recovery as well as different snacks throughout the day. Again, the more calories we can get in these cats, the better they're going to get. I promise you that.
Yeah, Matt, going off that, again, we have Matt Jacobs here, the strength and conditioning head here at Western Illinois University. When you look at that, you talk about the fuel zone. Would you say that's really the biggest thing you've tried to implement, or what are some of those bigger things that, since you've come here, you've really honed in on to improve the overall athletic success of these athletes here at Western?
The fuel zone was just getting into place before I got here, so I won't take credit for that one. But we've done a lot more with football as far as getting them different snacks, different food in their system. I would say the biggest change that we've done is Coach sold me on this team was they were a tough team, they'll work for you, and they were strong. But he also told me the weaknesses of the team. You know, he didn't think that they could bend very well, didn't think that they could finish very well. So those have been the two biggest battles that we fought to correct. You know, so the design of the program is to get them to bend more, get them to bend comfortably. If we can get them to bend through a bigger range of motion, that means they can create more power through a bigger range of motion. If they can create more power, that means they can win more battles. You win more battles, you know, all of a sudden we win more plays. You know, at the end of the day, hopefully, if we win more plays, we win more games.
And how exactly do you do that, Matt? How does that work, you know, in terms of logistics standpoint?
Well, getting them uncomfortable. You know, they can. It's not a secret how to get strong, how to get mobile. It's through proper technique and proper loading. So we changed a lot of what they were used to and got them in some uncomfortable positions, smart, safe positions, but we had to get them to bend differently. You know, if we can change the biomechanics of how they bend and how they work, also we create a bigger power range. A bigger power range means they can do more things. You know, if they're always going where they want to go, as opposed to not being able to bend where they want to bend, that means that they're in a better position. Better positions, more plays they win.
You talked a little bit already about your philosophy. What are some more aspects of the coaching philosophy that you may have had and picked up through the years?
A big thing is we do sweat the little things. Every detail of these guys, I demand a lot from them. The plan is simple. You know, we're going to lift fast, we're going to lift heavy, and we're going to repeat it. Okay? The plan is simple. The execution is very difficult. These guys are critiqued on every bit that they do. Every time they bend, every time they give me a certain amount of effort. If it's not where it's at, if it's not acceptable, well, then it's not good enough. So then we have to do it again. So that's probably the having to get the details right is the biggest challenge with our guys. You know, the more details we can get right, the more success we can put in front of them.
Now, for the fans, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your hometown, and you mentioned we already talked about coming from Northern Illinois, but some of your other work experiences.
Okay. Before I spent 6 years at Northern, great time up there. Before that, I was at Western Carolina University out in Cullowhee, North Carolina.
Cullowhee, North Carolina.
Okay, I'm from the farm back in South Dakota. All of a sudden, you go up to the mountains. It's a little different living up there. I loved it. I was there for one semester. Before that, I was, you guys aren't going to like this, I was at North Dakota State as a paid intern. And great experience up there. Learned some things. Their strength coach is the real deal. He's won a lot of games. And before that, I did my graduate school and undergraduate at South Dakota State University. Spent 3 years in the strength department there, and I loved every second of it because that's where I met my beautiful wife, and chased her around for a year when she wouldn't talk to me, and then she finally came out for a date with me. And you know, we just had a 6-month-old son, so that's a big deal in my world. They're my life, so everything we're doing is try to help them out. You know, so grew up in Parker, South Dakota. One side of town says 999 people. Other side of town says 1,001 people. So probably about 1,000 people. A little small farm town, southeast side of South Dakota.
So coming from South Dakota State and North Dakota State, you obviously have a lot of knowledge about the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Give your thoughts on what the Valley's all about.
It was a major selling point. I grew up in the conference. South Dakota State joined it, so I followed every team within the conference, and it is without a doubt the most demanding conference at this level. It's extremely competitive and extremely blue-collar style conference. And, you know, with Coach, that was what he wants, a tough, physical team. Well, that's a strength coach's dream. You know, tough, physical, all right, let's go to work. You know, so that's my style of training. I'm very tough on the guys. We're very physical, and we have to repeat that physicality. If we can repeat it, that's a big deal. So in the Valley, the team who wins the most plays, like most games, is going to win the most games, you know. And it's, you know, if you can come out of this conference at the top, well, that means you're also at the top of the country because it's a demanding conference. And I want to be a part of taking a blue-collar style team and putting them at the top of this conference. It's a big deal to me. I want to do my part.
Matt, what's the biggest thing that's surprised you in the early goings? You've been in Macomb a few months now. What's the biggest thing that's really stood out to you from an element maybe you weren't expecting about how it's all shaped up?
The biggest thing, and I guess I should have expected it because Coach Fisher told me it was going to happen, he said these boys will work for you. And they have. A credit goes to them and the guys they brought in and the coaches they have. As I've put some very demanding things in front of them, I've wanted them to get uncomfortable and to buy into me because they don't have to follow me, so, and they did, so I try to respect them as much as I can, but as that they came in and have done everything that I've asked of them. So it's like you don't expect that walking into a program. You got to takes time to earn that trust, to get guys to really battle for you. Well, that was very early on. It goes to the senior leadership. It goes to the strength of this team that they bought in right away. And I should say I wasn't necessarily expecting that to happen early where these cats were going. So it's a lot of fun. It makes my job a lot easier.
Well, Coach Fisher was telling us here before the show started just how well that they've been hitting it in the weight room during the offseason.
They're going. They're going. We try to make it a dynamic room. We do a lot of Olympic-based lifting. So we're doing snatches, jerks. We're doing full Olympic cleans, stuff that a lot of guys weren't used to. Well, those are dynamic, athletic, power-based movements. So, once you teach them the technique, once you teach them how to snap their hips, how to put that force into the ground, and then you relate that on how that force into the ground can relate to change of direction on the field, all of a sudden now these guys want to go. They want more and more. They want to move faster and faster. All of a sudden that creates a pretty good room. It creates a pretty good dynamic in the room.
Well, Matt, we want to thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
I appreciate it. First time on the radio.
You did a great job tonight, and I'm
Thank
sure
you,
we'll
Matt.
be seeing you here during spring football and coming again this fall. So when we return, we're going to wrap up this special edition with Coach Fisher and talk about this spring and the upcoming 2017 season. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Charlie Fisher Radio Show, sponsored by Brown's Shoe Fit Company.
Garrett Covington chose Western Illinois University because of the law enforcement program and the chance to be a Leatherneck.
Western has one of the best law enforcement programs in the nation, and I get to play the game I love. Whether I go pro or I go to law school, because of Western, I would take my success to another level. I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University. For Lindsay Cutesy, one academic major at Western Illinois University wasn't enough.
My majors in Spanish, anthropology, and religious studies have given me incredible opportunities to study in Spain and in India.
Lindsay feels incredibly lucky to be a Leatherneck.
My goal is to work for a nonprofit that focuses on serving others. I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University. Carissa Kuchis loves Western Illinois University.
Western lets you be who you want to be. The opportunities are unlimited, and people here really care.
Carissa has definitely made the most of her time at Western.
Advertising executive, life coach, talk show host. I'll do it all because I'm a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University. Max Ford is continuing a family tradition as a Leatherneck.
Giving back to my hometown and representing the school I love is so rewarding.
His hard work in the classroom and on the track have taught him perseverance and determination.
My training and my academic majors are preparing me for a solid career. I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Think purple, think success. Think Western Illinois University.
Sam Cooperman, head coach Charlie Fisher. Let's talk some spring football.
Absolutely.
Let's get going.
Throw some
Let's
questions out
All
there.
right.
I'm ready.
All right, so Coach, spring ball starts up, as you said, in 2 weeks. Opening day, you said, is when?
For us is in 2 weeks.
2 weeks
Right now.
All right.
6:46. We'll be teeing it up right now.
All right. So you got 15 practices this spring.
Yep.
What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, obviously year 2 in offense, we're still tweaking some things offensively. So that we're always massaging that, making it better, pro-style offense. But we're adding in. We do a lot of off-season film study and on different people. So we'll be making some adjustments there. Obviously, we're going to hire a new coordinator. We're going to have a much different look defensively. And spent a lot of time and research into that hire. I can't wait, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to seeing, just our guys are excited for some changes that are going to happen. That's going to be good. And then obviously just seeing this team develop. Every team takes on a different identity. We've got a veteran team. We got guys that have played a lot of football. And we expect to be really, really good, do a great job, and go out and compete for this conference championship. That's the bottom line. That's the culture we want. That's the way we want it to be around here.
Spring game, Friday night, April 21st, out at Hanson Field. I know you got a lot of events surrounding the game, including golf outing, too.
Yep, we got the golf outing the next day. We'll have, we had well over 100 former players back, parents, fans, supporters. I mean, just seeing I've made a big push to get former players back. Brian Spots has been awesome, former linebacker, helping us do that. I think we got over 50 coming back for Friday to play golf. They'll be around Saturday. I know I can tell you right now on Friday coming back is Don Beebe, and he's going to come back and play golf with us Friday. And it's been a lot of fun just reconnecting with these guys and really working hard to get them back. They love this program. That's the thing that is so unique here is how much our former players are connected to this program.
You going to do the leatherneck shake again?
We're going to do the leatherneck handshake. Love it. Can't wait. That's a special time. That really is.
Now, I know you, and like you said, you've had a lot of alumni contacting you about coming back as well. So last year, like you said, it had about 100. What would be your ideal number for alumni to come back over the weekend?
200.
200?
200. If we could double it, that'd be unbelievable. And, only time will tell. And it, may not happen in 2 years. But if we keep getting the word out and they keep – I've always said this. There's not a player in America that doesn't find it special to go back to where he played. I don't care where that is. And many times it's just that connection of saying, hey, Pat, hey, Sam, we want you back. This is your home. You need to be back here. And it's like anything. You invite somebody to eat, usually they'll take the invitation.
Yep.
You bring them back and make them feel special. That's important to them, and that's all we're trying to do, just trying to connect with them. I tell our guys, someday you're going to be a former player, and it happens quicker than you think. You're going to be a former player a lot longer than you're going to be a player, and you got a lot of time to come back and connect and really share a lot of experiences with the guys that are playing now.
Yeah, something the guys have talked about here, the expectations when you come into spring and how it all shapes up. What do you expect, from the guys when they come in terms of, what level they're at by the end of it in terms of game speed and all that, and just general expectations for spring?
My general expectation always is that spring ball is for improvement. It's for the player to improve individually on a skill set, and then also improve in skill knowledge and scheme knowledge, I should say. And that's very important, that the attention to detail that you have to have in spring ball. You're not going to go out there and play a game on Saturday. You're competing every day. It's tough. It's physical. But, you got to bring that mindset. That's what spring football off-season conditioning does, is it creates a culture of toughness and a mindset. And I've oftentimes said most times when you look at a player, if he has a really, really good spring, and I'll use one example of this, and Pat, you'll know this. Last spring when we talked about guys making strides, one name I continually said was Zeke LaSure. He took a really good spring, made it a better summer, and it led to a really, really major improvement in the fall. And you'll see a handful of players take that step that we'll talk about here in 2 or 3 weeks.
And he did make some key plays there during the fall.
He did, and he's had a really good off season, and looking forward to seeing him continue to progress in this offense.
Well, and Coach, one of the things that when I was up in Sioux Falls just this past weekend for the basketball tournament, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, hey, Pat, how good's the football team going to be? I said, hey, we've got 18 starters back.
Yep.
We got a lot of returning letter winners back. We've got a very veteran group. And, Matt Jacobs talked about that, too, with the senior leadership in the weight room.
Right.
And that's something you really hope to see come spring ball, especially, like you said, new defensive coordinator going to be tweaking some things and different looks. When you got a veteran team like that, how much easier does it make the transition?
Well, it certainly makes it a whole lot easier. And year 2 makes it a lot easier. But when you got a level of expectation and you got great leadership, I've said, winning is generated in the locker room. When you got guys that care about winning, care about each other, love each other, and are willing to be accountable when they go on the field, they go in a weight room, whatever you're doing, you're accountable to the guy next to you, to your teammates. Makes all the difference in the world. And that's a culture that you have to develop. You have to bring it around. It doesn't happen overnight. That takes time to do that. But when you got guys like Sean, Brett, and they're just a couple, Jacob Judd, those kind of cats walking around in your program that care about winning and care about doing it right, makes a big difference.
Yeah, and Coach, bouncing off of that again, Charlie Fisher here for the Charlie Fisher Radio Show. When you look at that from a leadership standpoint, you mentioned Jacob Judd and, of course, the guys that were on the mic earlier, Sean and Brett, but how much of that really improves during spring when you have those weeks when, it's not the normal kind of season approach, but as you mentioned, you're learning some of those new things. You're in the locker room, you're back with it. How does that kind of improve itself over those 5 weeks?
Just, obviously spring and the winter program. You just, in the summer, this off season, there's 3 phases, obviously. There's winter, spring, and summer that take you into the fall. But you're just making the investment. You're setting your stake in the ground that when it comes time, and I think you saw a lot of this on our team last year. We've been watching a lot of video, and we had 3 or 4 game-winning drives right at the end. That tells you a lot about your team right there, and where you can get it done when it's on the line and finish. And obviously we're learning how to do that, but the spring helps you do that because there's no game to play. There's not a Saturday you're going to play a game. You're going to go out there and play against your teammates for 15 practices. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be warm. It's going to be cold. You're going to be uncomfortable sometimes, but that's really where you make your hay as a football program, and that's where you find out a lot about a lot of guys.
Now, Coach, one of the things that we haven't really talked a lot about, but a little bit with the facility side of things, the locker room.
Yep.
So when the alumni come back for the spring game, they can take it. They can walk through and see brand new locker room area.
I got a sneak peek today, and the lockers they're rolling in there.
Looking
that
good.
Carpet's rolling in there. I purposely I've stayed away. It's kind of like when your house is being remodeled. You kind of stay away. My wife watches all those shows. Where you come in HDTV, HGTV, and they pull the curtain back, and wow. So I've kind of been staying away from the locker room because I wanted the wow factor, but I couldn't resist anymore. So they said, Coach, you want to see the new lockers? And they're sweet, they're nice. It's the way it ought to be. Division I, you want that look, that feel, that culture, and our players deserve that. They deserve to go in. That's their home. That's where they live. That's where your culture is developed in that locker room and in that weight room.
Yeah, how does that help things from an on-the-field standpoint? I know I'm sure it makes it a lot easier for your guys when you come in there, just having that extra comfort feel, having that with an improved locker room.
It's everything, and it shows the commitment of your administration to your players and to your organization, and they can feel that. It's just like I've said since I got here, my commitment's to my players, period, and I'm going to do everything I can to help them succeed. And Matt touched on this. I'm committed to their nutrition. You can't win football games without a big, strong, physical team. It doesn't happen, and it certainly doesn't happen in this league.
All right, so we spent about 55 minutes talking football.
Yep.
Let's get down to baseball.
Oh,
Let's
absolutely.
go. All right.
Let's do it.
Baseball right around the corner.
Yep.
Your Giants.
Giants fan.
Talk about your Giants.
Big time.
What are they going to do this year?
Well, it's an odd year. So, I thought last year we'd get back to the World Series, but it's an odd year. So maybe we're going to break that streak. But they beat the Dodgers the other day in preseason, so I keep up with that. Kershaw started, all right, so they beat him. That's all. Anytime you beat the Dodgers, that's a good thing. But, anybody knows me knows how much I love baseball. I love the pure process of baseball. I've played it and through college. I've always been a Giants fan. But, you take me to a park, I think I'm going to do some work with you maybe later this spring.
Oh, it's getting booked.
I just like being at the yard. I like watching baseball. It's easy. I like watching baseball on TV, and a lot of people don't. But I'm a huge baseball fan. But we got March Madness going on. Doesn't get any better than that. We got a taste of that with a lady next the other day, and it's a great time of year. Augusta's coming, right? That's right around the corner. So this is really kind of a neat time to be a sports fan. And it's a fun time for a football coach because, you're not playing on Saturday, but you're coaching your team, and you're helping them, you're working and you're tweaking some things, so you can do that a little bit without necessarily, you're not playing on Saturday, and you're trying to tweak and improve some things within your schemes.
Yeah, Coach, kind of want to bounce a little bit off of that, a little bit back to Western. You have two players on your team that do play on the Leatherneck baseball team. Of course, sophomore, now junior running back Steve McShane. He accomplished a whole lot there on the football field and doing so on the baseball diamond as well as another sophomore, now junior, Justin Fitzpatrick. You talked about how you played baseball all throughout college. What kind of value is it that those guys are getting that experience, also playing baseball in addition to being with you guys on the football field?
Well, for me, it's always been if they can help our baseball team, which both these young men can. They're terrific young men. They're good players. They're outstanding athletes. They can help our baseball team. I got great respect for anybody who does it twice or does two sports. It's hard. It is not easy to do. All I ask out of our players that are good enough to play baseball is that they train with our football team, all right, because that's their main priority, and they play baseball, and they know going in that they've got to be able to train. A great story. Those guys got back off the road from Mississippi State late, and they're in the weight room at 6 in the morning with Coach Jake. And that's the kind of dedication. You're doing something special. You're doing something different. So it takes that kind of energy and fortitude. McShane was in there maxing today. He looks fantastic. I mean, I think Fitz is primed to break out. He started a number of games for us. He's a relentless worker. I'm excited to see both these guys continue to develop. But, I'm excited about seeing them, help our baseball team win.
Yeah, and what's that process like for them? You touch on it a little bit there with coming back from the Mississippi State trip and then right back in the weight room. But what's that like in terms of what they're able to do with the team and, some of the things that they're not able to do just based on the time circumstances?
Well, it's hard. They have to have a day off. But, I mean, it's a push now. They're playing baseball like they leave tomorrow to go play a series. I think they're going to Dayton.
Spring
break trip. And then they're coming back. They're playing every week. I always thought playing both sports, much harder on me as a player in baseball season because of the travel, the number of volume of games, trying to keep up with your studies. Both these guys they're both 3.0 plus students. I mean, these guys manage it well. And I wouldn't let them do both if they couldn't manage it. I really wouldn't. If their grades were suffering, I wouldn't let them do it. But both these kids have proven trustworthy to do them both. They work with Jake. They know what they got to do, and all I care is that like get your work done. Do what you're supposed to do. I got no problem. You're playing for the right head coach if you want to play two sports because I did it, and I got great respect for that. But it's not just like, hey, just go over there and play baseball for the fun of it. You're competing at a high level, so go help us win. But remember, you got a priority to your teammates here in football.
Well, having seen both those guys already play this year, I can tell you this: Steve runs fast on the base paths.
He's fast.
He is fast.
He looked awfully fast today and yesterday in workouts too.
And let me tell you something, Fitz, the games that I saw, he started in center field. He got to some balls in the gap. I thought there's no way somebody's going to get to that. And next thing you know, Fitz is right there making the play.
Both of these guys are high-level athletes now. I mean, they bring a lot to the table. And I'm Steve McShane's already, he busted out in this offense last year, and we're continuing to design ways to use him. But I tell you, I think Fitz I just have this feeling. I know where he's at, and I know what his mindset is, and this kid is a competitor. I think, our secondary, obviously, we got to improve back here, Pat. Everybody knows that. I mean, there's not anybody in America that doesn't know we've got to improve in our secondary. He's going to help us improve. His work ethic, his leadership, just the way he goes about his business, that's my kind of guy.
Yeah, and just one more point on my end on that note. When you talk about the time management aspect of those two guys, between Steve McShane, Justin Fitzpatrick, having to balance all those different things, really the three main things, football, baseball, and school, of course, how beneficial is that just in that respect from them being able to go through that? And then when it gets to football season, when, of course, you mentioned spring being tough with all those things, but when football season and time management can be tough for a lot of kids, how beneficial is it for them to have that spring where they're doing all those things at once?
Well, I mean, obviously these guys are experienced that because they've done it now for a second year. And so it's not like you have to watch a young player really close if they're a two-sport athlete. And there's, quite honestly now, there's not many guys that can do it in Division I football. Yep. It's not like you just say, hey, I'm going to do this. There's very few guys that can do it at a high level. And both these guys have managed to do that. And I think what you're going to see, both these guys are back in baseball mode now. They're training with us. They're strong. And you're going to continue to see them improve throughout the spring because they're kind of getting their sea legs under them again in baseball. Totally different deal.
Well, especially being position players too.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit different being a pitcher, and transition from pushing the bench press and doing all that, and then you're going out there and trying to hit, and a guy that's throwing 90, 92, and got a curveball and a slider. Play against Texas Tech and Mississippi State in baseball. You're playing against some high level cats.
Yep. Well, fans, just a reminder: follow Leatherneck Football on social media. Especially, we're going to have updates all throughout spring football at WIU Football for Twitter. We got Facebook. We got Instagram. Coach Fisher, your Twitter address is?
It's, Coach Fish, Rip It. I'm trying to think here. I got to remember. Coach Fish, Rip It. I got to think because I never give my handle out, so I'm always it's just right there. At Coach Fish, Rip It.
I'll come in with the assist here.
Yeah,
it's at Coach Fish _
Rip It.
There we go.
Yeah, all right. And that Rip It goes for a guy who can throw. So you caught me off guard there, Pat.
Well,
that's a good zinger. You threw me a curve.
I threw you a curveball.
Yep.
But you got it, though. Yeah. All the latest football information, again, social media. Follow us online at goleathernecks.com. Coach, that's all the time we got for tonight. Thanks for the insight and looking forward to some spring football.
Hey, and let me remind you, fans, we're 178 days from Tennessee Tech.
There we go.
All right.
178 and counting.
We got some talking about football. We should throw out here, again, non-conference, at Tennessee Tech, at Coastal Carolina, and then before that, at Northern Arizona.
Yeah, we'll be left coast, right coast, and down south. So we're going to cover it all.
Hey, you had great success winning on the road last year. I know that's going to carry over for this year.
Great teams got to win on the road. You got to be a road dog.
Exactly. So we want to say special thanks to our sponsors here tonight, Brown's Shoe Fit Company here in Macomb. Thanks to Mike Taylor and everyone here tonight from University Television. They're bringing you this show on YouTube and on social media. We certainly appreciate everything that they do for us. We want to thank everybody in the athletic department as well, and all of our fans. Great fans showing up tonight. We want to thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. For Sam Cooperman, for Chris Studio, Regional Media, and head coach Charlie Fisher, I'm Pat Osterman. We want to see you back here this September inside Buffalo Wild Wings for the 2017 debut show of the Charlie Fisher Radio Show. As we said, we'll be back here in September.
Sure will.
Ready to roll again. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Good night.